blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Well, it's Halloween season, and with another Halloween movie on the way, with a brand new timeline, I figured that we'd marathon through all the other Halloween movies. And their own timelines. Because, fuck it. Let me be the first to admit, we may not have as much fun with this movie as we'll have with the others. But that's just because of how well made this movie is. It's so well put together that we just might have a hard time trying to tear it apart. Unlike Michael Myers himself, who just destroys everything with ease. The movie opens up with the eerie music that we'd all come to know and love as we're shown a first-person view of little Mikey Myers as he stabs his older sister to death. I mean, I've heard of sibling rivalries, but this is just ridiculous. Am I right? I'm sorry for that. And I don't know, after seeing the shot 1,000 times over, I now question if any of it really has a place in this movie. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of the mystique away from the shape, but it does provide a little bit of backstory that I feel is not unwelcome, but still unnecessary. Cut to a mere 15 years later, the night before Halloween, and Dr. Loomis, Michael Myers' psychiatrist, and Nurse Chambers head to Smith's Grove Sanitarium to take the now fully grown Michael to court. Upon arrival, they find the inmates are now running the asylum, or at least escaping from it. Michael Myers, going undetected by Loomis, Chambers, and the camera's view, carjacks Loomis. So now not only is he a murderer, but he's also a thief. And we all know it's okay to be one, but never both. I mean, that is just bad manners. But Michael's kleptomania spree continues, as he also takes an all-white William Shatner mask and a mechanic suit. Off the mechanic he killed. Michael heads back to his old house where he finds Laurie Strode with the boy she watches, Tommy Doyle. She heads to the Myers house that her father is selling to drop off the key, and gets a stalker free of charge. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis searches for his former patient, warning anyone and everyone in sight. Laurie notices the figure that's following her, but her friends Annie and Linda shift her concern to their Halloween night plans. While Laurie is stuck babysitting Tommy, Annie will be babysitting Lindsay Wallace across the street, and Linda will be 3 doors down doing what everyone does in horror movies, having sex. As the day progresses, Laurie keeps getting near glimpses of the man in the mask, much to her dismay. And what a cold, heartless bitch. I mean, come on, who doesn't appreciate a secret admirer? Loomis heads into town, probably because he realizes he's needed for the third act. Upon his arrival, he finds that Judith Myers' headstone has gone missing, which could only mean one thing. The Reanimator has struck again. Laurie and Annie drive around town smoking a joint freely until they spot Annie's father, the sheriff, in front of the Halloween store Michael Five-Finger discounted from. And yet he never smells the weed. Hell of a cop. Give this man a promotion. At the crime scene, Dr. Loomis approaches the sheriff to warn him of the upcoming dangers of Halloween. And its 11 sequels. Loomis talks the sheriff into entering the old Myers house, which I'm pretty sure is legal, but I guess if you have a badge, that's just a license to do whatever the fuck you want, so yeah, why not? And it's in this very scene that Loomis lays down one of the most famous speeches in movie history. So iconic that it would echo throughout the rest of the movies in this series after.
15 years ago, I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They decide to keep the news of Michael Myers' return on the down low because I guess they don't want too many cops looking for a killer. They could be doing much better things with their time, like hassling people for selling loose cigarettes.
I still think I should notify the radio and television.
No.
The boogeyman! Ooh, the boogeyman! The boogeyman! The boogeyman! The boogeyman!
You can't kill the boogeyman.
What's the boogeyman?
Lori, the boogeyman is outside. Look!
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
The movie brings up and shoehorns the name The Boogeyman into the story more than Kingdom Hearts forces in the word heart. I get the reference. I get the comparison. Michael Myers is the metaphoric boogeyman. Yeah, okay, great, wonderful, thank you. But can we please stop repeating it constantly like it's part of people's day-to-day vocabulary? It's not. As Annie watches Lindsay later that night, Michael shows his softer side while playing with the family dog. Poor guy. He's just trying to give it a hug. You know, I think Michael may be misunderstood. He's actually a very gentle giant.
Doggy!
Too hard.
I like doggy!
Too hard.
Doggy!
Gonna bite.
Doggy!
Gonna bite. Oh, jeez.
Annie gets a call from her boy toy.
I'm not your boy toy.
Annie gets a call from her boy toy Paul and decides to drop Lindsay off at the Doyle's house so much like Linda, she can get laid. Does Halloween make teenagers super horny or something? Like, did I miss that? Growing up, did I miss that? Contributing VTards in the comments, I want your best, and by best, I mean worst, things that Sam Hain has made you do on his sacred day. That's right, I want your Halloween sex stories. They don't have to be true, but they do have to be funny. Unfortunately for Annie, despite the fact that a man will have his hands all over her, she won't be getting her O today, as she's choked to death. Kinky. Loomis and the sheriff continue to search around, looking for any pale-faced men in a jumpsuit.
Go ahead, Lonnie.
Lonnie, get your ass away from there. Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
Linda and her time-appropriate fuckboy arrive outside Lindsay's house. And what the fuck is this joke?
First I rip your clothes off, then you rip my clothes off, then we rip Lindsay's clothes off. Yeah, I think I got it.
Totally.
Did he just joke about stripping an 8-year-old? You know, I know that he was kidding, I get that, but between that joke and his rape glasses, honestly, I ain't gonna feel bad when this guy bites it. I'm kinda hoping for it. Also, isn't that breaking and entering? Well, screw it. And by it, I mean each other. Guys, it's alright. Look at the bright side here, right? At least he got to penetrate her before Michael penetrated him. Wow. Guess Michael didn't appreciate getting cucked. And so ended the tale of Fuckboy Bob. Michael then decides to get festive and pick out a last-minute Halloween costume, and I don't mean to be a dick here, but it clearly shows. Meeting Linda, Michael plays a game of trick-or-treat, and knowing full well he's lactose intolerant, he goes with trick. And so ended the tale of Fuckgirl Linda. Michael, if the goal was to kill who was ever in your house, why didn't you just kill who was ever in your house? Why did you need to detour and kill all these other people? Were you an avid video gamer? Did you think, well, yeah, sure, Laurie's the main plot, but I also want to hit all these side quests before I finish up? Did you figure that you were out of practice, so, might as well get a few more notches under my belt before doing what I came to do? It just seems like you were trying to contribute to the movie's runtime, Mike. Have you ever heard of the word filler? Laurie, realizing all her friends have gone missing, decides to do some investigating. And upon searching, she finds both Judith's tombstone and Annie's body. Hey, good on you, man. Alright, screw Batman. You, my friend, you are the real world's greatest detective. And then Michael attacks. Laurie's thrown down a flight of stairs, just minus the stairs. And while this gets her further away from Michael, it also means that now she's more vulnerable. An injured Jamie Lee Curtis breaks out of the house and begins to run from house to house looking for help. She eventually heads back to the Doyle's place, which, yeah, great idea. Put the 2 children you're watching in harm's way. Good on ya. Michael manifests behind Jamie, Bruce Wayne style.
Where are you?
Michael takes a stab at trying to end Jamie Lee's career before she strikes back with a blade of her own, reminding him that while he'll be relatively unknown in Hollywood, she'll still go on to make Freaky Friday. But as it turns out, Michael is down but not out, as stabbing him in the neck must have just, made him take a nap. Michael chases Laurie, slowly, causing her to lock the children in another room and lock herself in a closet. Michael breaks in because if he can get into your home, he sure as hell can break into a closet door. Laurie, thinking quickly, injures him before sending the children out to get help. Michael grabs Laurie and begins to choke the life out of her.
Is that a human?
Before Dr. Loomis shows up and shoots Myers multiple times, causing him to fall out a window. A crying Laurie asks what Tommy Doyle had been asking all this time.
What's the boogeyman?
To which Loomis replies,
As a matter of fact, it was.
The iconic music hits and Keyboard Cat plays us off, and that's 1978's Halloween. And all in all, I can see why this is a classic. It still holds up decades later. It's decent performances with really good storytelling. It's simplistic, sure, but what it does great. From the point of view shot at the very beginning, all the way to hearing Michael's heavy breathing by the end, there's so much to love about this movie, and it's no wonder why it's as successful as it is. The movie also has a bunch of additional scenes that were put in it for its TV premiere. Yeah, imagine that. Someone adding scenes to a hit movie for its TV premiere. I tell you, the near 80s was a very different time. They would again add a few more additional scenes to a special edition release that they shot while working on Halloween 2. The scenes are surprisingly good and add a bit of depth to the story. Sure, they don't add to the gore or the horror, but they show us more of Loomis and his fight to keep Michael away from the public. And it also shows the full extent of Michael's rage. Not to mention, it ties Halloween 1 and its sequel Halloween 2 together pretty nicely. I really like the fact that despite Loomis being the great good and Michael being the big bad of the film, they're only on screen together in the last 2 minutes of the movie. Instead of seeing them battle it out in one form or another all throughout, we see each side of their story until they finally intersect at the very end. Another thing I really like about this movie is that Michael is more of a force than he is a man. On screen, he's often surrounded by shadow, and throughout the script, his character is layered in mystery. We don't see him very often, and even when we do, we don't see that very much of him. It definitely helps add to the ominous, anything can happen feeling the movie has going for it. Laurie, Annie, and Linda come across as genuine friends and actual teenage girls, rather than the standard slasher victims. The genre would become so poisoned over time that victims in these movies often barely come across as characters, and really just kind of see them like warm bodies for an upcoming body count. Here, these characters for the most part feel very much like real people. They talk about school, their crushes, they go behind their parents' backs to do stuff, typical teenage shit. When characters in horror movies are written this well, not only does it make their deaths mean more to the story, but it also adds a layer of unpredictability to the movie. If a character's underwritten or just one note, that usually means that they have an imaginary target on their backs. Might as well just put a toe tag on them and call it a day. Unless that movie is Halloween Resurrection, because in that case, then all your characters are bad and bland, but you know what, we'll get there. If a horror movie is stacked with well-written characters and well-acted performances, then it's next to impossible to guess who lives and who dies. One thing I think plays against this movie is the little sound effect they add whenever Michael's on screen. I know they use it in the sequels as well, but I think that it kind of spoon-feeds Michael being there to the audience.
Yeah, but I've seen you stuck in plenty of other positions.
My parents are gone.
Had they not used that sound effect and just had Michael creepily show up in the background of shots, I think it'd play much better. It'd keep the audience on their toes and keep them fully invested. When the music comes on, it's almost like the audience's clue to play, "Oh, where's Michael?" When instead, we should feel slightly accomplished and completely uneased about spotting Michael in hiding. In my opinion, and the opinion of many others, I don't think that this is a risky thing to come out and say this, but Halloween is one of the true horror greats. And if you, for some reason, haven't seen it, well then stop depriving yourself, dummy. So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free $1 to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that $1, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
VTart, oh.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?